All right, ladies and gentlemen, so we got ourselves a bit of an interesting video today. This video comes to us from Gothic Therapy, and apparently they have some inside information regarding Sweet Baby Inc. and an apparent cancellation of a few projects that SBI was involved with Sony. Now, this wouldn't be the first time we've heard of canceled projects from Sony recently, because they've been, after Concord's failure, canceling a bunch of projects left and right, and it seems as if some of them are deliberately being tied to SBI, not out of random. Again, this is seemingly deliberate, and we're going to talk about it. So let's get into this video, guys, from Gothic Therapy. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. And of course, the video will be in the description box below. Make sure you show these guys some love and check out the video yourself and give them a like and tell them where you saw it. Here we go.
Over the past year, we've exposed how Sweet Baby Inc. has embedded itself in the gaming industry, rewriting narratives, shifting priorities, and shaping entire projects from the shadows. They've dodged accountability. They've pretended it's all harassment. That Sweet Baby Inc. doesn't do what gamers think it does. But now, someone might finally be pulling the plug.
I like how that Sweet Baby Inc. doesn't do what you think it does. Narrative is still trying to be made into a thing, considering that every single public talking thing that they've done, it's ridiculous, man. They have proven that they are in fact a DEI company. Every single time Kim Belair or anybody from SBI is on a panel, the only thing they are talking about is diversity, equity, and inclusion in some way, shape, or form. That's all they talk about. They don't talk about anything else. Literally, at the GDC just recently, the 2025 Game Developers Conference, Kim Belair was on a panel talking about literally that. Black in gaming. It is ridiculous, man. And they try to be out here and say, well, you know, it's not what you think. We're not a DEI company. We're a narrative consultation company. It's like, bro, nobody believes you. Nobody believes you. Stop the nonsense.
A verified SBI insider has come forward with something massive. Sony has started canceling contracts, specifically the ones with SBI attached.
Oh, this should be good.
Hello, 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 and what is going on, everybody? It is Master of the TDS, and I'm joined by my lovely wife,
Writing Raven.
Welcome back to Gothic Therapy. Our Sweet Baby Inc. insider has come forward with some very interesting information involving Sweet Baby Inc. And this time, it involves Sony.
But
now, keep in mind, this is an insider that they have used before that has provided accurate information in the past multiple times. So this is a long-time verified insider, right? This is not like your McDizzle kind of insider or airbagged kind of insider. This is a verified insider within the industry, and they have given information that has been accurate in the before. But I will say that no matter how accurate they have been before, I highly implore that you take all the information you're about to hear with a grain of salt until otherwise proven true publicly by the company that we are talking about, which again may or may not happen because these companies are not wanting to give information like this out there because they don't like the fact that we got ammo against them in the manner of which we do. But anyway, let's continue.
before we jump in, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. Join the night shift and stay up to date with everything they don't want you to know.
Before we dive into the insider information, we'd be remiss not to mention that Sweet Baby Inc. CEO Kim Belair was already in the news recently.
Thanks in part to the work of my amazing husband.
Guilty as charged. At GDC, Kim gave a talk about artificial intelligence in gaming, saying it should be used for empathy and inclusion, not profit. Which is
Again, this is the same woman that's trying to tell you that her company is not a DEI company. Meanwhile, she's talking about AI and trying to tie diversity, equity, inclusion to fucking artificial intelligence. What kind of sense is that, man?
a little ironic considering what her company actually does behind the scenes.
I wonder if she named her AI Bowser.
That joke will never get old.
Him preaching inclusivity with AI is pretty rich.
When the biggest name in gaming might be cutting ties with her company entirely. A source we've fully verified, someone who's given us solid info in the past, reached out with a claim. Sony has started canceling projects that had Sweet Baby Inc. attached.
We don't know every project, and we can't confirm each title independently, but the source was very clear. These cancellations weren't random. They were deliberate.
If a verified insider isn't enough for you, that's fine. Treat it like a rumor. But we stand by the source 100%. And what they told us tracks with what's been happening behind the scenes. Back in January.
Now, here's the thing, man. You know, these consultancy groups, they are definitely at their wits' end. I got to imagine, considering that, you know, it's a different America now. Trump's in office. People are, you know, pretty much over this whole DEI bullshit. People are over the virtue signal nonsense. It just doesn't work like it used to, right? It just doesn't make people feel guilty like it used to. You can't really virtue signal and at the same time make people feel bad because they don't want to wear a mask or something like that. That shit just doesn't work anymore, right? So at this point now, these studios that relied for their income in order to basically make you feel guilty and essentially hire them to prevent that guilt from happening or taking place, now that's not working anymore. I don't think that they got rid of them completely, but I do think that they've scrapped probably a multitude of their projects simply because they know it's not going to be profitable at this point. And considering the massive amount of money they lost from Concord, they're not exactly looking to replicate that lack of success, if you get what I'm saying.
Multiple reports surfaced that Sony was quietly canceling half a dozen in-development games. Titles weren't named, but they were described as major projects, some already years into development.
And this wasn't just casual restructuring. These were deliberate, targeted cuts. Projects that were already deep into production suddenly dropped without explanation.
If Sweet Baby Inc. was embedded in any of those titles, Sony may have finally decided it wasn't worth the risk.
And it gets even juicier.
According to our insider, Sweet Baby Inc. was involved in a follow-up to God of War Ragnarok. Whether that was a DLC, a spin-off focused on Atreus, or even a full sequel, we can't say for sure. But what we do know is this: that project may no longer be moving forward.
And it wouldn't be their first time. Sweet Baby Inc. had narrative involvement in Ragnarok itself. They even posted about it.
So if they were embedded again in the sequel, and that's one of the contracts Sony just axed,
I still can't believe that they got rid of their entire website. I mean, think about getting felted so hard by a movement of gamers that you decide that you want to hide who you are working with. You want to hide your achievements. You don't want to know, you don't want anybody to know what you're working on. That's insane, man. You guys, I don't even know what to even say at that point.
Then Sony might have pulled the plug on a flagship project because it had the Sweet Baby stink all.
I mean, look at this. Look at this list of canceled games, man. Concord, we already know. God of War by Bluepoint Games. Ben Studios multiplayer game. The Last of Us Factions. Spider-Man The Great Web by Insomniac Games. Twisted Metal by Firespray. I'm sure Jaffe's angry about that one. Unannounced fantasy game from London Studio. Payback by Bungie. And networking project from Deviation Games. These are all going to be major projects. I mean, it's very obvious. I mean, look how much money they spent on Concord. I could only imagine what they would have spent on these other games, especially Spider-Man The Great Web and Twisted Metal. Oh, man, they would have spent crazy money in these games.
Over it.
So, what does this actually mean?
It could mean the industry is finally pushing back. That after all the narrative meddling, after all the consultant-driven homogenization, Sony might be the first domino to fall.
If they're canceling SBI-attached products quietly, what other studios might follow? What other consultants might suddenly stop getting calls?
We're not saying Sweet Baby Inc. is finished, but if they were part of a God of War sequel that got cut, that's not a trim, that's a power move. Sony might be sending a message, and we heard it loud and clear. The fight is not over. This is just the beginning.
And you better believe we'll be watching what happens next.
Because sometimes, even the gods get dethroned.
And sweet babies get spanked.
I love their outros. So yeah, at this point, I think it's safe to say that SBI is definitely being looked at with a second eye now. Whatever companies are thinking about working with them. Consultation companies are not going to go away anytime soon. That is a level of grift that is going to stick around for quite a while, I got to imagine. And they are going to do everything they can to ensure their survival. But I will say that I'm not shocked at the idea that they are being canceled by Sony, at least project-wise anyway. not contract wise. They might have gotten rid of them for a couple of games because perhaps the games themselves were just not worth investing the money into, not necessarily because of SBI in general, but according to the source, it seems to be directly tied to SBI in general. So I'd be very curious to see what comes of this and if there's any more information that comes out. And I'm sure Gothic Therapy will let everybody know, and we will react after that, after they, break the news and whatnot. But I'm very curious to see what ends up happening from here on out. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Go check out Gothic Therapy. The link will be in the description box below. Leave a comment, tell them where you saw it, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.